Welcome to Dairy Delivery by the Dairy Star. On today's episode, we start near Darlington, Wisconsin, where we caught up with the winner of the 2025 Distinguished Young Holstein Breeder from the Wisconsin Holstein Association, Christy and Reggie Kamps. Next, we talk to Elena Kolb, who is taking over the herdsman role at Kolb Dairy from her grandmother, Teresa Kolb, who has managed the dairy for the last 60 years. The third conversation today is with Tom Brown. Hear how Brown is making a living milking cows without a milk truck coming to the farm. We close today's episode in Manitowoc, Wisconsin with Megan Hokemer. Hokemer is a three-sport letter winner, is going on to play college softball, and plays an integral role on her family's dairy farm. You're listening to Dairy Delivery, all dairy, all the time. We'd like to thank today's sponsor, DRMS.
This episode is brought to you by DRMS. DRMS is excited to launch the Fresh Cow Index, a new metric within the Herd HQ platform. FCI is featured in the Fresh Focus Transition Cow reports inside Dairy Depot and will be available in DART in the future. FCI combines 25 individual cow variables from DHI test day data and CDCB genetic evaluations into a single, easy-to-understand score for evaluating transition cow performance. A score of 100 indicates expected performance. Cows above 100 are outperforming predictions, while those below 100 are more likely to underperform and face early culling risk. Producers and consultants can use FCI to evaluate month-over-month changes in feeding and management, understand herd-level transition success, and drill down into Cow Compass for detailed cow-level insights. Herd HQ. See what's happening in your herd. Learn more at drms.org/herd-HQ/what-is-herd-HQ.
I'm Michelle Stangler.
And I'm Dan Walker, and we're your reporters with the Dairy Star, bringing you the latest in the dairy industry, including hearing from farmers from across the Midwest and beyond. Michelle, it's the first issue of April, and we got the return of our crop and weather report. We got 14 farmers in this issue from around our readership area that'll detail their field work this spring, this summer, and the fall. And I know it's a big hit within our readers of getting to see what people from all over the Midwest are doing and how they're handling different weather that they're having, and all that comes with the crops and the challenges that they face.
Well, spring is coming when you see tractors in the field. The USDA Crop Progress Report had its first report of the year last week, Monday. And so looking forward to seeing how much of an increase in percentage of our corn and soybeans throughout the Midwest. But got any special memories about weather?
Yeah, and say obviously in the spring, we always gets a little bit of always looking more at the weather compared to maybe what you're doing in the winter. And we had one spring storm growing up on the farm that it was tornado season. We had one rolling through, and my dad and brother were up in the freestyle barn working on something and standing out there kind of watching the rain. And my mom and me and my sister were in the house, and we had heard on the radio that there was a tornado that had touched down like a couple miles north. By a couple miles, I mean like 10 or 15 or something. So we all knew it had touched down. It was kind of our first experience with it. And we're kind of standing on the front porch trying to holler at my dad and my brother to have them come back down to the house. And they're just standing in the garage door opening, just kind of the feed alley, just kind of waving at us because they see us waving. They don't really know what we're trying to get to. They're too far away to yell at them. And it was a little chaotic experience, but tornado never really came close to the farm. We were just getting a little over prepared for it. It was just kind of funny. It was just, we're hollering at them and they just turn around and wave to us. It's like, guys, it's a little more, we're not just saying hello. Like, it's good to see you, but got to get a little bit more urgency than what we were doing. So
yeah, the spring weather is just a little bit chaotic. I feel like from snow to rain to tornadoes, like it just every week is different. I guess that's what makes the Midwest special. Like you can never plan on warm weather, or you might have to plan for wet weather, and just like that balance, it's just a lot to kind of think about every week, and trying to get that hope of being in the tractor and trying to plant and then hopefully a fruitful crop for the year.
for sure. It's always that old saying, right? If you don't like the weather in the morning, just wait until the afternoon. It'll probably change by then.
Yeah. Well, we hope that if you're planting in the fields, you can listen to us. We release a episode of Dairy Delivery right after the newspaper gets published and in your mailboxes over the weekend. So Monday early mornings, you can count on us right after that newspaper is published. And leave us a review and let us know what you want to hear on the podcast. It's almost been a year of the podcast. How special of sharing these stories from the Dairy Star. And yeah, just been a great year, wouldn't you say, Dan?
It has been. It's been awesome to kind of get this thing off the ground and get working on it. It's really cool to have all the stories we have with it and getting to hear from people. I know when we go to trade shows, I had a couple people come up and talk to me about the podcast and stuff. And yeah, I would say when you're planting and you got time to throw something on, feel free to put us on and try to maintain your straight lines, obviously. But I'm going to think that every time there's a little weave in the field and the crops that maybe somebody got a little too distracted by the dairy delivery and got to make sure we keep everything on a straight line here.
What a good way to say it. But we have a lot of conversations in today's episode, so let's get into it.
Our first conversation today has us speaking with Christy and Reggie Kamps, winners of the 2025 Distinguished Young Holstein Breeder. Kamps RX Genetics has become well known throughout the red and white Holstein community, with the help of one cow specifically, KHW Regiment Apple B Red ETN. Can you tell me a little bit about your farm, how you guys milk, and how many you guys milk?
Today we are up to about 70 lactating registered Holsteins, a majority of them being red and whites, as that has been our focus in our breeding strategies. Today they are housed in a freestall barn and currently being milked through the old tie stall and just being switched back out to the freestall barn. So we have hired labor for milking, and all the cows are currently housed at Reggie's parents' farm, Kamps Genetics, where they've been super supportive of helping us get started and continue to keep our milking herd going. So
that's great. It's got to feel really good to have a little bit of extra support instead of having to have everything here for that. And
for sure. We're very appreciative of that.
That's awesome. So you were selected as Wisconsin's 2025 Distinguished Young Holstein Breeder. What did it mean to you guys when you learned you had won this award?
I think we were obviously just knowing some of the past award recipients. We were very honored to be named the Distinguished Younger Holstein Breeder. And I think just for us being a little bit smaller scale, it was really an honor just because of what we've been able to do in a short period of time. I think it's been pretty cool that we've been able to start and come up with our own farm name kind of from scratch and really have kind of made it a name brand name out there. Like usually when people bring up our farm name, they already know our history and the success that we've had with certain family lines, and that's been super rewarding. So it's been cool to hear it out at multiple different shows over the announcer, breeder recognitions, premier breeders. It's been really cool.
And I would say it was an honor and very humbling to get it also, but also time to kind of reflect on where we've come as a farm, and especially with the people we met along the way that have also helped us to get us where we are. There's a lot of people also jumped on board and had the same beliefs we did, and the Apple family and the animals we were showing. And that was really rewarding, and we're very appreciative of the people that were there alongside of us and we learned from as we were doing it also.
Yeah, I'm saying when you come in and you just talk about it, your farm name is Kamps RX Genetics. Can you talk a little bit about what went into naming your farm Kamps RX?
Yeah, so it was probably in college. We talked about it and knowing that we wanted to start something, so we thought that a lot of people kind of acquire their family's farm name. And I guess we kind of just felt we were at a stage that maybe we were to create our own thing moving forward. So we came up with Kamps RX Genetics, one Kamps obviously being our last name, the family name. And then RX came from on the pharmaceutical side of the business. Reggie is a pharmacist today. And then at the time I was in the animal health industry, so was also in the health side of the world. So we came up with RX because we were both able to kind of correlate to it, I guess. And then genetics being just the focus and what we were trying to accomplish in the industry at the time. So that is how we came about Kamps Genetics.
Awesome. I mean, it's one of the more unique names, I think, around there too. Right?
Yeah,
So
and we
that
worked with
helps them.
somebody like to get our logo done. Obviously, being in the professional side of the business as well, we know a lot. It has to go about like really labeling yourself and creating that brand. So it's something unique that we wanted to do, like with the lime green. You don't see a lot of lime green color out there in the show world, but we just wanted to find something that would make us different than the blues and the reds that you see a lot of people incorporating in their farm designs. So I think we've done that.
Seems like it. Reggie, you mentioned a little bit ago, you had Applebee as one of kind of one of the foundation pieces for Kamps Genetics. How important was she to your herd, figuring out kind of where you wanted your genetics to go and kind of how you breed, and like just how important was she to your herd and what you guys have been able to accomplish?
She was probably the most important cow to our breeding program and to our herd today. We started with many different families before we got to her, trying a lot of different paths, knowing we always had a passion for trying to get back to the Apple family. So when the opportunity came up to be part of her, we were more than excited to have a piece of her here. And then from there, she was one of the animals that just did it all for us, really made us look good, which was more than you could ever ask for out of the cow.
And you guys both balance our off the farm jobs. Like, how difficult is that to try to balance that balance different full-time positions while being one of the more renowned breeders in the state?
Yeah, I think it's a challenge. That comes from passion, though. We both have a passion for striving to do the best we can with it and to make it work with the dairy industry, also while maintaining our professional lives and off the farm jobs and a family and the other things we do along the way. There's no cookie cutter answer to how we do it. It's just one of those things that evolves along the way. As family changes and jobs and everything comes along, every day is a little different. So there's no answer to how do you get it done. It's just we got a list of things and you work through it as best you can throughout the day while maintaining as high standards as possible with it.
And I think a lot of people, like when we're out and about, everybody's like, how do you guys get all this stuff done? And it's kind of like, well, we really don't. But it's just life. And I guess that's what just kind of keeps driving us forward. Really, like Reggie said, our passion for the industry. And now that our kids are getting old enough, really, keeping to move forward because we see that they're interested in what we've been doing as well. So their interest is just motivating us to take us that next step further at this point. But it's been exciting, and it's exciting to see the kids be interested in what we like to do as well. Makes it more worth it.
This episode is brought to you by DRMS. DRMS is excited to launch the Fresh Cow Index, or FCI, a new metric within the Herd HQ platform. Featured in Fresh Focus reports inside Dairy Depot, FCI combines 25 cow-level variables from DHI test day data and CDCB genetic evaluations into one score to evaluate transition cow performance. A score of 100 means cows performed as expected, while lower scores can signal added risk early in lactation. Herd HQ. See what's happening in your herd. Learn more at drms.org/herd-HQ/what-is-herd-HQ.
Well, what a great conversation that you had with them. You can read more about that story about the 2025 Distinguished Young Holstein Breeders, Christy and Reggie Kamps, under the headline, "The Apple Does Not Fall Far," on dairystar.com. Our next conversation today has us in St. Martin, Minnesota. Tiffany Klopacki spoke with Elena Kolb, who was taking over for her grandmother at Kolb Dairy. Elena returned to her family farm in the fall of 2023 and has been working as a herdsman on the 420 cow dairy.
So just tell me a little bit about your transition to the farm. Why and when did this all happen?
So I went to Ridgewater right out of high school for vet tech. I always kind of knew since I was young, like, I always had very drawn to the animals. So I went there, graduated, and then you have to do an internship. So I went down to Anoka Equine and did my internship there. And a little bit of backtracking, I, like in the Kolb family, my aunts and uncles, they all showed cattle. I was a big horse person, and a lot of my cousins now are following with that. But So I was always big into the horses, showing them. So that was something I kind of wanted to dabble into a little bit. So I went down to Anoka and did my internship there at one of the biggest equine hospitals in Minnesota, or one of the only ones. Got done with that, and I knew pretty early on, even in school, I wanted to stay with the large animal side of things, not small animals. They really just kind of bored me. And so then they would hire me on down there, but I wouldn't move closer, and you had to live within a certain radius since it was an emergency hospital. So I came back here, and there's not a whole lot of large animal strict tech positions around here, because most people like have someone like me now where doing most of their vet work
In-house.
and most large animal vets, they can take care of things on their own. So then I was kind of like, well, what am I going to do? And I was kind of looking for other options. And then my dad called me and was like, hey, you want to come take over on the farm, managing the dairy. And I had, even through college, in the summers, I always came back and worked part-time on the farm, and working alongside my grandma, who ran this before I came back. And so, yeah, that's kind of how I was like, okay, she was going through some health issues at that time, and so I came in and worked side by side with her for a while until I kind of got the hang of things. But it was pretty easy because I grew up running around the farm, and I was always with the cows. So, yeah, that was kind of my transition. I think that was fall of 22.
When you transitioned in.
Yes. Yep.
And then you and your grandma kind of oversaw everything together for like that winter.
It was like a couple months.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. It was a couple months. Like I said, her health wasn't the greatest, and so then I kind of took over. And I actually, when I was younger, I used to do like full milking shifts, standing on 5-gallon pails. So I was very familiar with everything and our protocols and things like that. So the transition was very easy for me. It was just kind of getting in here and like, oh, you can do this, like that part takes a little bit of encouragement, because it's a lot of decisions and kind of scary. So yeah, that's kind of how I got back here.
Okay. Yeah. And so then now, how has your role kind of evolved since then? Just taking on more responsibility, or more of the decision maker instead of follower?
Yeah. So I feel like, and kind of more my role, but I kind of taken it into my own hands too. Grandma, she's the older generation, so everything was like, paper, pencil, write it down, where, when I was in school, one thing that plays in my head every day, and I tell people this all the time, when you're in school, anything like medical at all, if it's not written down, not recorded, didn't happen. So as soon as I got here, we've been using VAS for a long time. But nothing ever got in the computer, no mastitis events ever went in, even little things like foot trims or whatever. So I worked on getting everything in the computer, and I found that has helped our nutritionist track to see how things are going, and just a lot of other people that like to kind of peek in and see how our data is. So I kind of did that, but then as time has gone on, I feel like you just kind of keep taking more, and really just like getting in contact with your people, your breeding companies, and, we ended up switching a hoof trimmer, and sometimes I feel like those people, they kind of just come and do their thing, but when you can be in contact with them, communicate really well with them, I feel like things go a little smoother. So taking on those roles of talking to all these different people you work with, that's kind of another role. And then I also manage the employees up here. So we have 4 milkers up here. So just making sure they're doing what they should be doing, and communicating with them is a huge thing, because they need to watch for things in the parlor, mastitis, or, if a cow's not looking like she's feeling good, communicating that with me, that's important. So I do help with a little bit of field work, spring and fall. I like to kind of dabble around with everything and kind of be a part of everything, but the cows is my main focus. And then I also overlook the health at our heifer site, which is from about 5 months old to they're bred, and the bred heifers up there leave when they're about 3 to 4 months out from calving. So they're pretty easy, but just going through there and making sure everyone's feeling good. Sometimes spring and fall, you might have a case of pneumonia or something come up. So those are kind of over my watch as well.
Sounds good. And then just in general, just tell me about, like, how many cows do you milk? What's the parlor setup? General farm stuff.
Yep. So we are milking 420 cows right now. We have a double 12 parlor. We run, I think, right around 2,000 acres.
Who else is involved in the farm?
So my uncles are the owners in the farm. So Leon Kolb, he does all the calf maternity stuff. Jason Kolb is my uncle. He's diesel mechanic. He's the shop manager. And then my dad, David Kolb, he is like the head field work guy. And then Mike Kolb does my uncle as well. He does all the feeding. And then I have my brother and my cousin. So Jacob Kolb's my brother. He just came back last summer to the farm, and he does kind of a little bit of everything, but mainly fieldwork side. He also helps me with the cattle. Kyle Kolb is my cousin. He came back last fall. Again, just kind of field work, but kind of helps all over. And then my stepmom, Nicole Kolb, she mainly helps with the cattle with me, moving cattle, vaccinating, whatever. So
quite a few family members.
Yeah, mostly family. So
Very cool.
This episode is brought to you by DRMS. DRMS is excited to launch the Fresh Cow Index, or FCI, a new metric within the Herd HQ platform. Featured in Fresh Focus reports inside Dairy Depot, FCI combines 25 cow-level variables from DHI test day data and CDCB genetic evaluations into one score to evaluate transition cow performance. A score of 100 means cows performed as expected, while lower scores can signal added risk early in lactation. Herd HQ. See what's happening in your herd. Learn more at drms.org/herd-HQ/what-is-herd-HQ.
You can catch that article on dairystar.com and look for the headline From One Milkmaid to Another. Our third conversation this episode has us back in Wisconsin, speaking with Tom Brown. Brown grew up on a dairy farm and after junior college worked at a pair of university farms. When an opportunity came up to bring his herd of cows under one roof, he found a way to balance a full-time job, milking cows and raising calves, without the milk truck coming to the farm. You're milking cows, but you're doing it a little bit different than maybe how some other people would be having their own farm and raising cows and everything. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you're going about it right now?
Yeah, sure. So we milk 20 registered cows. I work full time off the farm in reproduction, so I kind of needed to have a balance of having an adequate herd size that I could still do a good job of and work full time off the farm. So in order to do that, I buy bull calves and then sell them at 550 pounds. And that really helps to still be able to have a nice herd of cows, but being able to cash flow as well and make things work when you don't have a milk truck pulling in the yard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a little unconventional the way we talked about it. It seems like it's been working out really well for you guys. It's a really cool idea and how you're getting it done. Can you talk about what your background was like in dairy growing up and kind of what helped pave the way for this?
Yeah, so I grew up on a dairy, a dairy farm. We milked about 100 cows in northwest Minnesota. I worked full time at North Dakota State University as the assistant herdsman for 7 years after graduating high school, and then accepted a position as the manager of the University of Wisconsin River Falls Dairy in River Falls, Wisconsin. I was there for 4 years. And all throughout, always owned my own cattle and had them kind of housed here, there, and everywhere to make things work. But then I accepted a position with Central Star Cooperative as a reproduction consultant in 2023, and that really kind of paved the way for me to buy our own place and to start doing what we're doing today.
Mm-hmm. So buying your own place. Your wife was from Wisconsin originally, but why this area? Because we're up in Mondovi, we're a little bit south of Eau Claire. What about this area or this farm has made it this special and attainable?
Sure. So I really like it here because there's dairy cows everywhere, right? I can walk into a Quick Trip or a Culver's that smell like manure and nobody thinks twice about it. I'm probably not the only one there, right? Mm-hmm. So I guess that's one of the many reasons I really like Wisconsin. That, like I said, there's cows. There's dairy farms here. There are cows everywhere, right? And I unfortunately, we don't have that luxury in North Dakota. There aren't as many cows as there used to be, right? So being passionate about my love for dairy genetics really drew me to Wisconsin, right? And brought us to this spot where we are today. Everything's just kind of evolved one by one, and I'm thankful the way it all worked out.
Mm-hmm. And you talked a little bit about that with your passion for cows and genetics and everything. Can you talk a little bit about the cow families you've worked with, and you got a little some extra pride with some of those, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. When we knew we were going to move to Wisconsin, I started going to different dispersals, anywhere from in Fond du Lac, the two Apple Mania sales that they had, to different Willow's Edge, different Indian head Holsteins. Those are all really good herds of cows that I ended up buying animals from. Really passionate about good cow families, that a lot of those animals go back to either 97 Point Roxy or Tri-Day Ashland cows like that, and Apple herself. So a lot of our cows trace back to some of those pedigrees. It was super cool this last right after Christmas. The Holstein classifier was out, and we had our first cow. First homebred excellent. She's a cow that we like, and she has had 5 daughters for us naturally. So super excited about those cow families, and it's fun to play with them now and see. Hopefully that she's the first of many, I guess, going forward.
Yeah. How did that feel when they first told you had that 90 point cow?
Like I've been breeding my own cows since I was 14, and I'm 35 now, right? So I guess the first thing I thought is, why did it take me 21 years to accomplish this, right? But all good things take time. I had kind of come to peace with I was probably very good at making very good cows, if that makes sense. Like over half of our herd was very good, including multiple 2-year-olds. But I could just never quite get cows to 89 and not quite get them there, right? So I was very thankful now that we're at this place, and I can do things the way I want to do, for the longevity with the cows, right? Getting them to that 5th, 6th, 7th lactation. I do think that helps, right? And cows sticking around and keeping a good set of feet and legs on them, that really helps. So super excited about everything that's to come with some of the young cows that we have as well.
Yeah, definitely. And so we talked about it. You got a passion for milking too. What is it about milking cows that you enjoy so much? Because there was one point your wife was saying you're milking cows 4 times a day almost between the two farms. Yeah, between the two farms and your own farm and then the university farm.
Yeah, there were times when students at River Falls, when students were on Christmas break or during J term, I milked my own cows twice a day and then twice at the university, over a short period of time. I just really like milking cows. I like the routine. I like it's a lot more positive than watching the news, I think, right? It's a really nice build up and then cool down to the day, I think, right? It provides a really good routine. But I just really like being surrounded by cows all the time.
We often hear about off-farm jobs, and I think Tom Brown manages it pretty well with all the different responsibilities that he has. You can read more about his farm and how he manages his time on dairystar.com, looking for the headline, Cashing In on Calf Raising. Our final conversation today features a 3-sport athlete at Felders High in eastern Wisconsin with our Stacy Smart. Megan Hochheimer played 3 varsity sports throughout her high school career and found a home at the next level on the softball diamond. Hochheimer plays a pivotal role on her family farm, helping feed calves, milk cows, give vaccinations, and much more.
Megan, you're a 3-sport athlete playing softball, basketball, and volleyball all throughout high school. That's very exciting and I'm sure is a big demand on your time. So tell me, how do you balance being an athlete along with working on the dairy farm? Because you're also very involved with your family's farm as well, right?
Yeah, definitely time managing, knowing when practices are, along with important things on the farm, knowing when herd checks are, when the vet's visiting, when there's things to be cleaned up, when calves have to get moved, knowing specific times, when able to let coaches know like certain things that work well for me, along with working with the farm and knowing specific things to do and get done. Definitely time managing is the best.
And so the softball season just started, and can you tell me a little bit about what your what positions you play?
On the softball team, I've been the pitcher my sophomore, junior, and now senior year. I played shortstop my freshman year, and I've kind of just stuck to those 2 positions mostly. I've been able to break records on the pitching mound, push my team to get 20 wins last season. Hitting, I was able to break the home run record, so that was really sweet. We were able to make it to state last year, along with getting conference as a team. It was great.
And you just wrapped up the basketball season, your last high school basketball season. Can you tell me a little bit about that sport and, kind of some of your successes with it?
Yeah, basketball's been great. It's a fun team sport. I've been able to have a lot of success with my teammates, make a lot of memories, have lots of fun experiences. I've been able to break the 1,000-point milestone in my high school career. I broke it this past winter, my senior year, along with breaking the Valdez High School girls basketball record. I was able to pass that and finish with 13-17 for points, and it was a great season.
Wow, that's amazing. And then tell me a little bit about volleyball.
Volleyball is a great sport to fill my fall with, especially staying active. I like to go in the weight room, spend a lot of time with my teammates, which in Valdez we have a lot of 3-sport athletes, just like myself. Being a smaller school, a lot of people play all 3, so it's really nice to be able to be with my teammates all year round kind of thing. And volleyball, I've been able to succeed. I play middle hitter, and we were able to make the sectionals once. We won conference. It was a great time.
Wow, how exciting. Sounds like you've had a really great 4 years playing sports, and now as a senior, you're entering that last season of softball. If looking back on your whole high school career, what would you say is maybe your most memorable sports moment?
Most memorable is probably the game in regional semifinals against Wrightstown my junior year. We went to extra innings and we were down 2-0 in the bottom of the 8th, where I was able to the first 2 people got walked, so we had first and second with no outs, and we were down by 2. And so I was thinking in my head, this might be my last at bat, so I got to make it a good one. And I was able to hit a home run. So we were able to win the game 3-2 in extras. So that was great to advance.
Wow, that sounds like an epic moment. So how would you say growing up on a dairy farm and working on a farm and having responsibilities, all while growing up has helped you be a better athlete?
Definitely giving me great leadership skills. It's helped me to have a great work ethic, knowing what hard work is, pushing people to do better, work hard, know that there's things to strive for in life kind of thing. It helps me to know important things, like putting things that are important ahead of other things. Just getting things done is really a great thing that the farm has taught me.
And what are your plans after high school?
I plan to attend Lawrence University in Appleton, where I want to study chemistry and possibly environmental science. I am going to play softball in college. I committed this winter, and I'm really excited to continue my softball career.
You can read more about Hokumer's athletic career and life on the dairy farm under the headline "From Cows to Cleats" on dairystar.com. And we'd like to thank today's sponsor, DRMS. DRMS is excited to launch the Fresh Count Index, a new metric within the Herd HQ platform. FCI combines 25 cow-level variables from DHI test day data and CDCB genetic evaluations into one score to evaluate transition cow performance.
Learn more at drms.org/herdhq/what-is-herd HQ. Herd HQ. See what's happening in your herd. There's a lot of great stories in the latest issue of the Dairy Star in store for all of our readers. Some other stories or topics that are covered in this issue include our side of the fence about planting season. We spoke with farmers about some of the earliest and latest they have been in the field during planting season, and even share some of their more unique memories of things that have happened during this time of the year. I know if you're one of those farmers who haven't got in the field quite yet, I can only imagine the antsiness, as I can relate it to my family and people who are farming. And so hopefully it'll be a fruitful spring planting season for all of our farmers out there.
Most definitely. Obviously, got to get everything in the ground now and hopefully see some benefits or see some. I'm excited to see some green. Don't say, I know when I was going for a drive the other day, just getting on the interstate and seeing all the trees still a little bit bare, I'm excited to get some things greening up out there and get some crops in the field.
We continue our Proud of Their Dairy Roots section, with this issue focusing on gubernatorial candidate Congressman Tom Tiffany. Tiffany grew up on his parents' 50-cow dairy farm near Elmwood. He learned lifelong lessons of hard work and the importance of community on the farm, and was a small business owner before beginning his public service career. Currently, Tiffany represents the 7th Congressional District of Wisconsin.
In these upcoming few months, there are a lot of congressional candidates that do have a dairy background. So it's interesting to see some of that dairy connection on both sides of the aisle. So certainly always interesting stories to read in the Dairy Star. Another story in this issue has Minnesota writer Sarah Young visiting with cousins Josh and Wyatt Vedelson of JW Vet Farm LLC. The cousins installed 8 Lely A5 robots, 2 Lely Vector feed pushers, and 6 Lely Discovery manure collectors. The 6-year process became operational 11 months ago, and Josh and Wyatt discussed their new protocols and how the robots are working on their farm.
Always good to see some new tech going in there and having to see or getting to read about their experiences and having an overall positive experience with all the new tech they've had put in is obviously going to change the way that they're farming, and hopefully for the better as they continue to kind of move on from some of the old ways and continue to incorporate some new tech. Now, this issue's People Moving Products section takes us to Bubbles Cafe in Adams, Minnesota. Janet Heller, or known as Bubbles to her community, owns the restaurant, sporting a menu filled with dairy goods and homemade treats. Bubbles worked at the cafe she would later purchase for about 10 years and has since made it her own, preparing pies from scratch using butter, cream, and other dairy products. Find more stories in next week's Dairy Star newspaper, then come back to the Dairy Delivery on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts to hear more of these stories. Rate and subscribe, and if you or someone you know is interested in being featured in the Dairy Star or on Dairy Delivery, reach out to us at dairydelivery@dairystar.com, and we can continue sharing all dairy all the time.